fuck.
Let you know when the notification
Oh no,
hits up.
it'll be the gaming channel here. I'll fucking. Up, yep, it's working. Beautiful.
Okay, let me see.
Uh, YouTube channel. So I'm just using a blank screen, so I don't have to worry what the hell pops up online. Uh,
You said it's on the gaming channel?
yeah, here I'll fucking throw it in the room.
Because oh wait, I didn't hit the bell, that's why.
It's not a big deal. I refuse to tell people to use the damn bell. It sounds so stupid. That'd be one more fucking retarded hoop.
Was it before we started streaming? I was actually watching a video about the music used in Better Call Saul. Uh,
Yeah.
it was interesting. You know, I like the music that's used, whether it's, third party, mainstream, or commissioned. I always find it
Oh,
surprisingly whimsical.
well, we could get back to that. So I wanna let me get to this, and I'm gonna fucking retract the person who got the ball rolling on this.
All right.
So, oh, one of the tweets is already down. Isn't that interesting? Um, let's see. The first person goes, "Lolly hentai is just legal child porn. Stop retweeting it. That's not cool." My response was, and I thought I was on the ball here, is, well, it's against Twitter's terms of service as well as Gab's. You could just click that handy dandy report button. Um, oh yeah, no, he did remove it. Basically, this rando freaking snapped at me and said, "Oh look, he's defending child porn." And I'm like, "Are you so fucking lazy that you can't?" And I think, I got to admit, I think everybody's a little guilty of this. Well, except for people who absolutely love clicking report. If I do that, and it makes me a little bit closer to mundane Matt. I'm a little bit more fucking out of line. People are worried about heading down a slippery slope, this, that, and the other. That's what I think. That's what that is. What do you think? Why people just? I'm like, well, if it were real child porn, would we even be having this discussion? You would have already clicked.
Um, well, like I've said before many times, it depends on certain factors, and one of those factors being like, can it be proven in a court of law that these drawings were actually reference material to actual children that have been abused or molested in the process? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I mean, of course, there's other, certain gray areas. Inherently, is it hurting people? No. Is it being used to groom children? Possibly. Anything can be used to groom children, even candy. There was that one brony that you talked with. Was it Headstrong? Was it Headstrong?
Yes,
Not
that was
Headlong.
yeah,
Headlong
headlong of Equestria.
was using one that like food anime thing to sort of groom that girl, and then he also sent her food and candy online.
Little on the nose, I thought. It was a little. I'm like,
Yeah,
wow.
it was a little on the nose, but that's definite grooming. And I mean these examples I listed before is like why in a legal court of law there hasn't really been a full sweep effort to have this content banned, removed on the shelves, and censored off certain countries on the internet. You know,
Yeah. Um, I was a
actually, me and Sheldon were having another discussion on Twitter about
well.
this,
That's why I
and
was confused when you said about removed off the internet. Were you saying that food porn should have been ripped off of YouTube or what?
no, I'm saying content like lolicon and Shotacon.
No, I get
Like
that too. But what he was using to groom the girl was, I think it's called Food Wars, and it's meant as a meme where the people bite into the food and they like orgasm and shit. And I've only ever caught the clips. I know it was like a popular thing, and I've no doubt it's probably funny as shit. The animation looks pretty good, but I just never bothered. I've never. You know what? If I were starving and someone who needed to romanticize food is something unobtainable, I just don't get that though. I suppose.
right. There's certain animes where they have those moments where like someone takes a bite of food and they're like, "Oh, this is so good,"
I
Is it sort of?
I'd be
comedic relief.
if
I
I were
mean,
just if I for whatever reason were sitting down watching with like somebody under the age and it was just me and them, I'd be like, well, this is kind of uncomfortable, and I would probably draw a reference to it and be like, let's get someone else in this call. That's just how
right.
I would do it. I'm like, or hey, is this a bridge too far? Like for
Well, I
example,
mean, isn't the bridge that's already gone too far the fact that he's admitted that he was dating that girl?
I thought he said he kept denying it. She kept bringing up that she was, it's hard to remember the whole headstrong thing. That was so long ago, and I didn't have it put to memory.
Headlong, not headstrong.
Oh
We
yeah,
both made that
headlong.
mistake today. It's okay.
Yeah,
It's been a
headlong of
long day.
Equestria. Yeah, that's the guy.
The day's just started and it's already long.
Well, you know what? I'm at home and I don't have to go anywhere today, so that's really good. And I was like, I need to talk. I need to fucking put something out there today. It's just kind of rant and get my fucking thoughts out there because I feel like I'm just like fucking. The longer I don't do something, it just drives me nuts.
Yeah, I was thinking about that one stream you did with that one guy talking about how, pedophilia isn't a sexual orientation, and I'm more at this point inclined to agree with him. I
Which
actually,
which one
uh,
was that?
I forgot. I can look it up. I think it was something you did on Fan and Frenzy. I don't,
I
and
was did who was saying that it was a sexual orientation?
I said it was. I was saying it was. He said it was more of a fetish. I said it was more like an
Oh yeah, no, that was main
orientation.
channel. That was the one where I grabbed a random fucking anime girl, put it on the front cover, um, and I just wanted to have a discussion with him, which again I don't think he really went too far out of line. And I was like, oh cool, it's
No,
not
he didn't.
yeah,
He didn't.
it was refreshing to see that I wasn't talking to a complete degenerate.
No, it's. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a fetish. I'd say it's more of a sexual preference, like an aspect about your partner, like your sexuality defines whether or not you want someone of the same, different, or if it doesn't matter if it's fucking anything, or you just don't have a sexual attraction to anything. Aside from asexuality, you can still be homo, pan, bi, or
Okay,
hetero
yeah,
and still be a pedophile.
well, that's a good point because I remember seeing that one European German ad where they had like a bunch of pedophiles on there, and they're like, I don't, I they said they were calling it their sexual preference, and fucking Steps like, well, it is a sexual preference, and I was like, am I being nitpicky here or not? Because I feel like they shouldn't. I don't know. I just felt reluctant when I saw the terminology on there, and I've had people make a good argument why. Well, obviously it's not a sexuality, but a sexual preference. I don't know.
Well, it's like, you know, I think it was like the months after the ICD-11 came out, which was, I believe, in I want to say May of 2018. So it was pretty recent because the DSM-5 came out 8 or 10 years ago before that. So obviously, it's the most recent, psychology, diagnosis handbook, and it no longer defined it as an orientation. And then, this mixed with the fact that it's like, pedophiles have been trying to get, into the LGBT community to get some kind of, representation. And I felt somewhat inclined to believe that it was more of a political decision rather than a scientific one to get that changed. Now, I'm not saying that's not 100% unreasonable,
Well,
but even now today, I'm more inclined to believe it was a reasonable choice to change to not make it, uh, an orientation, but
well, yeah,
rather
no,
more of a mental disorder. But even then,
like
I
I had this
have more of a
discussion with
contention with that.
I had this discussion with Paws a hot minute ago when they were still around, where I was like, my big gotcha moment was, well, how the only reason that they took it out of fucking the DSM-5 for like gays and stuff was political pressure. And he's like, well, how do you know that's not why I didn't get it in the first place? And I was like, damn, I don't have a comeback to that. So I was like, that's why when I kind of see like science and things like these, I was like, well, you have to consider that these things are funded and stuff, and there's always going to be political leans and stuff. It's not infallible.
No, it's not infallible. But yeah, no, I'm more inclined to say it's a preference rather than a fetish because I wouldn't necessarily think that age is a glorification to a certain aspect, but it's just a specific preference you have for your partner.
I could head down a slippery slope here for you, where you're like, oh, it's not a fetish. Okay, milfs.
Again, I think that's more of a preference.
Do not people fetishize milfs?
I guess you could say that people fetishize, but initially
I
when
think
I
it
made that
started as a meme,
distinction,
but I think it kind of caught on to some degree, or maybe people didn't specifically focus on whatever it was. But I don't know.
I don't know. I think that's me making more of like a difference between like a verb and a noun, where it's like the preference is like the objectification of that aspect, and then fetishization is like the glorification of that preference. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that the stream's at good health, so there's nothing wrong with my connection. My computer, yeah, there's nobody watching it, but I wanted to make damn sure. I was like, well, let's see if maybe it's just my connection. Maybe I dropped off my computer for no reason, which isn't true. I fired up Tekken 7 when I was in there, and it froze immediately, which I was like, yeah, I'm not crazy. It's the fucking computer.
Yeah, what did they say what the problem was? Was it the activation code or
Well,
what
this
was
this
wrong?
this is where you're gonna make fun of me for my fucking priorities. Um, I just remember going, well, the computer's being stupid. I'm gonna go take care of it. And like throughout the day,
Mm.
my stomach had been bothering me, and I was like, you know what? After I do this, maybe I'll mosey my fat ass over to the hospital later today. And by the time I got there, like pain on a scale of 1 to 10 never really peaked over 5. But it was also
Mm.
the fact that nothing was, so to speak, working in that specific area.
What did the doctors say?
He said, you just, here's good news. You have to get out of here. And he's like, there's something, come back in like 8 months. We don't think that there's anything specifically wrong with your pancreas, but there's a little kind of anomaly. Just follow up on that. They
Mm.
like, yeah, drink a lot of water, eat some vegetables, which I've been doing.
Yeah, I'd say definitely.
What the fuck?
Go.
Well, one
Oh,
sec.
that's not me.
1 second. I'm gonna mute myself.
Do 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 do.
All right, I'm gonna end the stream because I'm getting called away. Sorry.